Okay, you know how now if your Wi-Fi flickers for like a millisecond, it feels like the dark ages have descended?
Oh, totally. Apocalypse now.
Well, picture this. A world where figuring out what time movies started meant calling a robot. And this robot sounded genuinely disappointed you couldn't just know. Let's unpack this.
It's almost a bizarre concept now, isn't it, in our always connected world? That feeling of being, well, utterly cut off from instant info.
Exactly. So for this deep dive, we're not just scrolling through old tweets. No, we're going way back.
Way back.
Back to a time before Google could answer your deepest questions, before you even finished typing them. We're plunging into what life was actually like before the internet took over.
All based on this wonderfully nostalgic look back at the analog age.
Yeah, think of it like opening a time capsule.
Right. But filled not with dusty artifacts exactly, but with the echoes of our pre-digital daily lives.
Precisely. So our mission today is to explore the surprising, often hilariously inefficient ways people navigated the everyday without the internet.
And maybe dig up the most interesting insights from this pre-digital era.
It's a chance to really appreciate the lightning speed of change.
Yeah.
And maybe even chuckle at our past selves.
And maybe gain a new appreciation for the resourcefulness that came from those limitations. Definitely.
All right, let's kick things off with something that might sound like ancient history to some of you. Encyclopedias, the original Google.
Yeah, it's interesting to consider the sheer physical presence of knowledge back then.
Right.
Imagine needing whole shelves just dedicated to these hefty volumes, often bound in leather or something that looked like it, made them feel quite official.
Official and heavy.
Oh.
Oh, man, I remember our set, you could probably do bicep curls with the Britannica B volume.
Practical.
And the Hunt. You'd have to physically pull out the right volume, say A for Aardvark, and then leaf through pages, just hoping you'd find what you were looking for.
It makes you wonder, though, about how that linear, sort of curated approach to knowledge-shaped understanding. Well, unlike today's keyword searches, you might stumble across all sorts of related info just by browsing nearby articles. Serendipity, kind of?
That's a great point. You might discover fascinating things you weren't even looking for. But let's not forget the downsides. Paper cuts.
Oh, the paper cuts. A real occupational hazard for the serious information seeker back then.
And if the topic was niche, like really obscure, forget about a quick answer.
Absolutely. Access to information was much more localized. You relied on what you owned or what your local library offered.
Which meant mastering the Dewey Decimal System.
Right. Which, for anyone who doesn't know, is basically a numerical code to categorize books by subject. It was its own system to learn, a skill in itself.
It's just a universe away from today, where we can access billions of data points in milliseconds. It's so easy to forget how much effort used to go into just finding basic facts.
It truly is. Now, okay, let's think about getting around. Before we had these little glowing screens directing our every turn.
Oh, road trips. This article paints such a vivid picture. First, you had the map unfolding situation.
The giant paper map.
Like origami gone wrong. Impossible to refold correctly. And the scale sometimes. Baffling.
And the planning involved. You'd be highlighting routes with a marker, manually calculating distances with a ruler against this tiny scale.
A skill that's probably completely lost now, right?
Oh, absolutely. And writing out directions turn by turn.
And despite all that meticulous prep, you'd inevitably get lost.
Always.
The article's bit about asking for directions from a local, turn by that old gas station. Oh, wait, it's gone now. Just perfect. So helpful.
It really highlights our dependence now on instant voice-guided navigation. The stress levels on pre-GPS road trips were undoubtedly much higher.
I'm sure many family vacations involved at least one heated map-related disagreement, or maybe that was just my family.
No, I think that was universal.
Definitely. Okay, next up. Just wanted to catch a movie. Not quite as simple as opening an app.
Yeah, it's fascinating to think about that intermediary step, calling the movie theater.
And getting that robotic voice reciting showtimes.
Ooh.
And you had to listen so carefully, trying to catch the time you wanted before the robot just moved on to the next film. The frustration of missing the crucial bit and having to call back, enduring the whole robotic monologue all over again. It was like trying to understand a very bored Dalek.
It certainly required a different kind of patience, didn't it? We've become so used to instant information.
Totally.
That the idea of that kind of effort for something as simple as movie times seems almost quaint now.
And don't even get me started on the rare occasion you actually got a human on the phone. Remember the line from the article? I think it starts at 7. maybe 7.15.
Just screams accuracy, doesn't it?
Such a far cry from the precise online listings and advanced ticket purchases we expect today.
Our expectations for convenience and reliability have certainly undergone a radical transformation, no question.
Okay, let's move on to something even more fundamental. Figuring out what the weather was up to. No swiping down on your phone for a detailed forecast.
It's interesting how much we relied on just our own observations. And
Yeah.
local wisdom, I guess.
Yeah, the article's point about looking out the window often being the most sophisticated forecasting method. Pretty true.
Sky looks a bit dodgy, maybe grab a coat. That was often the extent of it, right?
And if you were feeling really cutting edge, you might wait for the 11 o'clock news.
Oh yeah, the weather report.
And hope the weather person's vague gestures on the green screen were somewhat in the ballpark. The article's dry comment, accuracy varied wildly, is spot on.
If we think about it, there was a greater acceptance of uncertainty back then.
Yeah.
We were just more prepared to be caught off guard by the elements because we didn't have constant digital updates telling us exactly what to expect minute by minute.
Which probably built a certain resilience, I suppose.
Yeah.
Even if it meant a few unexpected downpours.
Exactly. Okay, let's switch gears to something a bit more creative and heartfelt. The almost lost art of the mixtape.
Ah, mixtapes. It's fascinating to consider the level of personal investment that went into creating these. It wasn't just dragging and dropping digital tracks.
No way. This was a true act of devotion.
As the article describes, you had to sit by the radio, cassette tape poised, praying the DJ wouldn't talk over the intro of your favorite song.
The sheer agony of a DJ bomb, right at the crucial moment.
And the hiss of the recording. It was part of the charm, though.
It raises an interesting point, though, about the value we placed on effort and intentionality. The time and care that went into selecting those songs, recording them in the right order, maybe creating a handwritten track list, it made it a deeply personal and meaningful gift.
Absolutely. The article calls it a testament to patience and a steady hand. And it's so true.
Comparing that to the ease of creating a digital playlist today really highlights the shift, doesn't it?
Yeah, from a tangible, time-intensive process to something instant and maybe often less emotionally charged.
Indeed. The little imperfections of a mixtape, that bit of static, the slightly abrupt ending, were part of its charm, a reminder of the effort involved.
Totally. All right, next up. Something that feels almost like a superpower in today's world, memorizing phone numbers.
It's interesting how our brains adapted to the available tech, right? Without the constant crutch of digital contact lists, our memory became our primary tool for storing this essential info.
Right. We used to have dozens of numbers committed to memory, friends, family, the local pizza place. Your brain was your contacts app.
Literally.
And if you forgot a number, well, hope you didn't need them urgently.
Pretty much, unless you had access to a phone book.
Which was its own bureaucratic maze, let's be honest. Finding someone in there wasn't always straightforward.
It makes you wonder about the cognitive skills we might be subtly losing as we outsource more and more memory to our devices.
It's definitely something to ponder. And can you imagine just answering the phone without any idea who was on the other end? No caller ID.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That phrase from the article, a genuine surprise every time, perfectly captures that mix of anticipation and maybe mild dread.
The lack of that filter definitely shaped social interactions in interesting ways. You had to commit to answering.
Now, let's talk about the exquisite torture of waiting specifically, waiting a whole week for the next episode of your favorite TV show.
It's fascinating how that enforced wait created a shared cultural experience of anticipation. Everyone watching was on the same weekly cliffhanger.
Exactly. Finishing an episode and knowing you had to endure 7 whole days for the story to continue. No binging, the agony.
It built suspense, didn't it? And the lack of instant online spoilers meant that suspense actually, well, built.
It fostered a different kind of engagement with the story, too. Discussions, theories about what might happen next, mostly face-to-face.
Right, or maybe on the phone using one of those numbers you'd memorized.
True. And if you happen to miss an episode, oh, disaster. Unless
someone taped it for you on VHS.
Yes. VHS recordings were precious artifacts, as the article says. You had to rely on someone setting their VCR, that's a video cassette recorder, kids to record it, commercials and all.
And strategically timing bathroom breaks during those commercials. That was an art form.
It really highlights our current expectation of immediate access to entertainment, where even a slight buffering delay feels like an eternity.
Such a different world. Okay, this next one is a little cheeky. Analog stalking.
Oh, okay.
It's interesting to compare the let's say, relative effort and limitations of pre-internet curiosity with the ease and potential for overreach in modern online surveillance.
Right. No endlessly scrolling through someone's Instagram feed, no late-night Facebook deep dives from 5 years ago.
Yep.
If you wanted to know what your crush was up to, you actually had to, like the article hilariously puts it, engineer a chance encounter.
Talk about commitment and resourcefulness, relying on mutual friends for snippets of info or strategically being in the neighborhood.
These are the low-tech equivalents of today's digital monitoring, basically.
It definitely highlights how much simpler and perhaps less socially acceptable, if you got caught, it was to try and figure out what someone was doing back then. Though the article's advice, deny everything. Pretty funny.
Good advice for any era, perhaps.
Indeed. The digital footprint we all leave today has just fundamentally altered the landscape of interpersonal curiosity.
Okay, now let's delve into the truly epic quest. Identifying a song you'd only heard once.
Ah, the struggle was real. It's fascinating how much we relied on memory, shared cultural knowledge, and just sheer good luck. No Shazam to instantly solve the mystery.
Exactly. You'd catch a few bars of a song on the radio or at a party, maybe remember a vague snatch of lyrics.
Yeah.
Like it had a kind of 80s vibe. So relatable.
And then spend weeks, like the article says, vaguely humming it to anyone who would listen.
And if someone actually knew the song, instant hero status.
It really underscores the power of those shared cultural touchstones and the importance of human connection in just finding stuff out.
Or, you try humming it to a long-suffering record store employee.
Who would likely offer a blank stare and suggest browsing the various artists' bins.
Yeah. It's just a world away from the instant song identification we have now. Click a button, mystery solved.
The frustration, though, of having a catchy tune stuck in your head with absolutely no way to identify it, that was a unique form of pre-internet torment.
Definitely. Finally, let's touch on something that seems almost quaint now in our digital age.
Yeah.
Actual face-to-face communication.
It's interesting to reflect on how much more we relied on direct in-person interaction as like the primary way to connect socially.
Yeah, the article talks about actually meeting up with friends at the mall, making plans days in advance, passing notes in class that took actual folding skills.
Sitting on front porches and telling stories. With actual voices and eye contact. Imagine.
While the article acknowledges the occasional awkwardness, the miscommunications that could happen,
Sure.
it also emphasizes the realness of those interactions, the nuances of body language, tone of voice, the shared physical presence.
It's a stark contrast to our heavily filtered digital communication today, isn't it? With its carefully chosen emojis and curated online personas.
Those ums and awkward silences might have been a bit clunky, but they were genuine. You were seeing the real person.
It raises an important question, I think, about the depth and quality of connection in our hyper-connected world. Are we losing some of the richness that comes from unmediated face-to-face interaction?
So as we powered down from this nostalgic journey into the analog past, what's the big takeaway here? What ties it all together?
Well, if we connect all these seemingly disparate experiences, life before the internet, while undeniably slower and often, let's face it, less efficient.
Definitely less efficient.
It fostered a different set of skills, patience, resourcefulness, a greater reliance on our own memories, and direct human connection.
Absolutely. The article sums it up nicely.
Mm-hmm.
It forced us to slow down, be more creative in problem solving, and actually talk to each other. So the next time your internet is buffering, maybe just take a moment. Appreciate the sheer ingenuity and effort that went into doing things we now take completely for granted.
Yeah, like finding movie times or getting directions.
Right. It makes you wonder, though, what skills are we perhaps losing in our hyper-connected world? And are there any analog habits we might actually want to dust off?